Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Treksha Marie V. Morata and today I am going to discuss the sensory system. So what is sensory system? Sensory system is the mechanism by which an animal detects changes in its external and internal environment and process that information to generate a response. The purpose of the sensory system is the foundation for all animals' behavior. So it allows animals to adapt their surroundings, move efficiently, and find and catch their prey, and also to avoid danger. A simple sensory response like the knee-jerk reflex from a doctor test involves a very specific pathway. So this pathway have a 4 key step process. The first step is sensory reception. This is the job of the sensory receptor, which is a specialized cell or organ. It is the first step where a stimulus is detected. The second step is transduction. This is the critical conversion step. The energy of the stimulus is to convert into a change in receptor cell's membrane. So, this is how a physical or chemical event is turned into a message to the nervous system that the nervous system can understand. The third step is the transmission. The change in the membrane potential leads to a nerve impulses or action potential that travels along the sensory neurons. The signal moves toward the central nervous system or mass called CNS. The signal moves towards the central nervous system or the CNS, which consists the brain and the spinal cord. The fourth step is the processing. So, this is what the CNS does, or the third step does. So, it receives the signal, it interprets it, and it decides on the course of action. The fifth step is the action or the response. The process information leads to an output, typically a motor response like pulling your hand away from a hot stove or whatsoever. So, the first, second, third, and fourth steps leads to the action or the response. Next is the amplification and the adaptation. Amplification. This is the strengthening of a sensory signal. It allows us to detect faint stimuli. For example, a single photon of light can trigger a huge electrical response in the eye sensory cell. So, this makes the signal thousands of times stronger by the time it reaches the brain. Now, we have the sensory adaptation. This is a decrease in responsiveness to a continuous, non-threatening stimulus. It's why you quickly stop noticing the feeling of your clothes on your skin or a constant background noise in your room. This is the nervous system prioritizing new or changing stimuli. Now, we have the 5 types of sensory receptors. So, sensory receptors are classified based on the type of energy or chemical they are specialized or detect. First, we have the mechanoreceptors. The stimulus of this is that the mechanical energy, physical deformation caused by the touch, the pressure, and the sound and the motion. So, these receptors often have hairs or cilia that protrude out of the cell. When these structures are physically moved, they open ion channels, changing the cell's membrane potential. The best example of this is the whiskers of cats, which are highly sensitive mechanoreceptors that helps them navigate in their environment. The second one is the electromagnetic receptors. So the stimulus of this is that the electromagnetic energy, including the electricity, magnetism, and the light. So the mechanics of these electromagnetic receptors, they detect changes in the electromagnetic field. Example, some fish can generate and detect electric fields to help them find their prey and navigate their prey. The third one is the thermoreceptors. So the stimulus of this is heat and cold, which are temperature. Thermoreceptors found in the skin of the interior hypothalamus. So it is a part of the brain that regulates body temperature. So these are the same receptors activated by the chemicals. So this is why eating spicy pepper can feel like burning sensation. The fourth one is the chemoreceptors. The stimulus of this is specific molecules or solute concentrations. The mechanism of this is that they bind to specific molecules which trigger to change in the cell's membrane potential. The example of this is that the receptor that monitor blood levels of molecules like carbon dioxide, glucose, and amino acid. The fifth step is the pain receptors or the nociceptors. So, stimuli that may lead to a harmful condition like example like the extreme pressure, extreme temperature, or a chemical release from a damaged tissue. So the mechanism of this is that they are crucial defensive system. So this trigger defensive reaction to withdraw from a danger. The role of the chemical is that the perception of the pain is amplified by chemicals produced when the tissue is damaged. So the role of the chemicals is that it is like an anti-inflammatory drugs like aspirin.